Did you know the Crusades weren't a single continuous war, but a series of military campaigns that spanned centuries? The popular image of a single, unified Christian army marching to the Holy Land is only a small part of the story. The historical reality was far more complex and often more surprising than we imagine. The First Crusade, launched in 1096, was a chaotic and brutal affair. When Pope Urban II called for the liberation of the Holy Land, he unleashed a wave of religious fervor across Europe. But the thousands of peasants and knights who took up the cross were not a disciplined army. Driven by a mix of religious zeal, desperation, and a thirst for adventure, many groups, like the so-called People's Crusade, massacred Jewish communities in Europe on their way east, viewing them as enemies of Christ. When the Crusaders finally captured Jerusalem in 1099, they ended a long siege with a brutal massacre of its inhabitants, a grim act that shocked even some of the chroniclers of the day. But the Crusades weren't just about conflict. The Third Crusade, which began nearly a century later, gave rise to a surprising dynamic between two legendary leaders, the English king, Richard the Lionheart, and the brilliant Muslim general, Saladin. They were fierce opponents on the battlefield, but they also developed a grudging respect for one another. They engaged in diplomatic exchanges, and on one occasion, Saladin even sent fresh fruit and ice to help a feverish Richard recover. While their rivalry was intense, they ultimately negotiated a truce that allowed unarmed Christian pilgrims to visit Jerusalem, showing that even in war, a strange kind of chivalry could exist. Perhaps the most astonishing turn of events was the Fourth Crusade. Launched in 1202, its goal was to sail to the Holy Land. But the Crusaders, short on funds, were persuaded by their Venetian allies to divert their fleet to Constantinople, the capital of the Byzantine Empire, a Christian city. In 1204, the Crusaders sacked and looted the city in an act of Christians killing Christians. This betrayal caused permanent damage to the Byzantine Empire, weakening it significantly and cementing the divide between the Eastern Orthodox and Roman Catholic churches. So, while we often think of the Crusades as a clear-cut conflict between faiths, the historical reality was a complex tapestry of religious passion, political intrigue, economic ambition, and personal rivalry. It was a time of both horrific violence and moments of unexpected humanity.